a potential rumor for Terry McLaurin, who is unsettled in Washington waiting for a contract extension, to potentially get moved. And if he were to get moved, Andrew Berry picking up the phone. We know the history, right? Do you think there's any chance that could happen?
Is there a chance? Yeah, like 1 in a million chance. We're talking Dumb and Dumber chance, but like I don't think it's anything that's like, let me hold my breath and see. But I do think it's one of those things where it's like, if it makes sense and this is the guy that Andrew Berry truly believes in, and I think I don't think he's truly found a guy that he's like, I'm willing to give this guy the $30 million or the $27.8 million per year and put all my faith into him. And if the compensation made sense, I think I would be all for it. It just scares me because I was never one of those Terry McLaurin's this top 5-10 receiver in the league guy. You know what I mean? But putting him with a guy like Jerry Jeudy with this offense, it could be scary hours in Ohio. So is there a chance? Sure, but I don't think it's a big chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if the general manager of the Cleveland Browns name was anything but Andrew Berry or maybe Howie Roseman, there's no shot, right? But because Andrew Berry has been notorious to get receivers via trade or get somebody on a cheaper deal and extend them moving forward. The only thing with Terry McLaurin now, it's really not extending him moving forward. It's Terry McLaurin, I believe the words were, I want $30 million, saying he wants $30 million from Washington with just 1 year left on his contract. So it's not really extending him forward. It's saying, okay, like, we know we want you here. We're going to pay you. It's not a get ahead of extension so we can have a Jerry Jeudy deal that looks like pennies on the dollar right now, like he talked about. I don't think there's a great chance. And if that were to happen, say goodbye to any big free agents you can sign the next year or two and anybody you want to extend, like a Greg Newsome or a Martin Emerson.
You think that would take that out of the picture?
I think so. It's tough with Deshaun Watson's money. It really is. As bad as that continues to be, it's tough. That's a big hit, and they're going to wind up, if they cut him, eating dead money next year. Like, it's hard. It's hard to see them having more than 2 big extensions moving forward.
So who's the guy? So what is the we always kind of talk about it every single week, like, do you still kind of feel like there's maybe one more move that we haven't seen yet? Or should the guys that we see coming into this training camp in a couple weeks are the guys that we're going to be talking about throughout the entirety of the rest of the offseason, beginning of the season?
I do think it's going to be the majority of this offseason, majority of the beginning of the season, it's going to be the guys they have now. I have a weird feeling somebody's going to pop up we don't expect. I don't know if that's somebody that's off the roster, though. I feel like we have covered all our bases on Honorland, talking about all the receivers, and we'll hear Luke talking a little bit here about the receiver room, what he's learned, what he's been able to do. But there's always somebody that kind of comes out of nowhere in training camp. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if it's somebody that we're just not expecting to have as good of a training camp and they just play better. But I find it hard to believe with the approach they've had in the draft, really with the approach they've had all offseason too. Like, there are still vets out there that money is not an issue for them. And maybe they don't want to play in Cleveland, but money's not an issue there. You're telling me you can't bring back Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen on a cheaper deal? Money's not the issue. I think they have belief in the guys there with an eye towards the future, because in a perfect world, do you bring back Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson? Can you? I don't know. It seems unlikely. But in a perfect world, if you could financially make that happen, I would take that over a big splash receiver every single time.
I just think it's a tough spot to be in with receiver because, number one, it seems like you're always finding guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round that could turn into something. And then you look at the other side of the coin, being a Browns fan, and them taking guys in the 1st round never works out in the receiver room. So it's always that rock in a hard place in terms of receiver in Cleveland Browns. You mentioned you'd rather have the Emerson and the Newsome. I think I'm with you in that camp. I'm also in the same camp that I'm like, I also know that Andrew Berry and these guys can find them a gem or two in that secondary. So I wonder what their thought process is. Is Jeremiah Smith on their mind at all? Like, how far ahead are you thinking? Because I think a lot of this plays into the main point, which is, what are they taking this season as? Are they looking at this as we're going out here and we're trying to win, or we're going out here and we're trying to compete? Like, I think that's a real conversation that they're trying to figure out, because like you said, you bring in a guy like Terry McLaurin, that screams they're trying to win. And you don't bring in Terry McLaurin, that screams, well, we're going to compete because we have faith in Cedric Tillman, we have faith in Jerry Jeudy being our one, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to be in that situation where it's like, we're running it back, and if it doesn't happen, we're just going to throw everything off to the side and kind of like rebuild, because that's what it kind of feels like is going to happen. If they tank this season, there's going to be a lot of new faces next year.
Yeah, I agree. It's just hard to think of who's going to leave outside of the guys who are immediate contract question marks, like Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still think the roster, because of how much young talent's on there and because of how many rookies they have, is going to look moderately similar next year, regardless of how good they are in terms of the personnel. Like the veteran quarterbacks, and then I'd say one of Emerson or Newsome probably gone. But like outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the roster is going to look wildly different, but they are in a tough spot now.
Cornerstone pieces, maybe. Like I feel like I just feel like we're in a time frame with this team where we've had a lot of it's weird to say continuity with the Browns, especially with the guys that we've had.
There's been a ton,
but there's a lot of guys that have been around the block with this team, and it's just like maybe we're turning a new leaf here, and it's like maybe we're getting away from changing cornerstone pieces every few seasons, and I'm just going back into the history and thinking of that. But maybe you're right. Maybe they find a world where Emerson or Newsome just exceeds expectation, and you just can't let him walk, and you bring them both back. So I don't know. I guess it's just time will tell, essentially.